Dear student, today we will discuss about the digestion. So we'll be starting with the introduction of digestion. Now, to understand the digestion, let's understand the food first. Now, what is food? It is the collection of chemical taken by organism, and it consists of inorganic as well as organic, you can say, chemicals. And organic chemicals are includes macro and micromolecules. So the main function of food is to provide the energy. It helps in the repair and growth. It helps in the maintenance of life processes and protection of the body. Now, if we categorize the food into different categories, then they are divided as bodybuilding food means protein, energy giving food means carbohydrate and fat, protective food like mineral and vitamins. So, therefore, protein, carbohydrate, fat, vitamins, minerals are the basic component of food which are required for proper functioning of the body, and they are known as nutrient. These nutrients should be present in the proper amount and right proportion in our diet according to our daily requirement of the body, along with sufficient water and roughage. So these mineral, vitamin, protein, everything should be present, but water and roughage are also important component, and such kind of a diet is called balanced diet. So now, if you look at the quality and quantity of food, it always matters. Now, food demanded daily by our body depend upon number of factors like age and sex, physical and mental work, body size, weight, body weight, state of health, environmental factor, and medications. So these factors affect our demand of food. For example, if the body size is more, if there are two-person and if one is having more body size and weight as compared to other, then demand of the food will be more for that person. Okay. Now, if you see what is the imbalance in the diet, in the food causes. Okay, so if the food in the diet is not balanced, then it causes certain disorders. So let's understand here, if there is excess of any of the component of food, okay, then consumption of excess of energy giving food causes obesity symptoms. So especially we are talking here about the energy giving food, and if you consume them in high amount, it leads to the obesity. And basic reason is the personal habit. So it is your choice whether you get the obesity or not. If suppose we are consuming something or some component food in less amount, then what will happen? It may give rise to malnutrition or undernutrition. Now, what is basic difference between them? So malnutrition, if the regular diet lacks any of the essential nutrient, the diet is said to be of poor quality. Even though you consume good quality, but it will lead to certain deficiency symptom, and such condition is called malnutrition. So you are continuously taking a diet which lacks certain nutrient. Suppose like you are consuming daily bread, okay, and daily you are consuming 3 times a bread, so only carbohydrate is going to your body. Okay, there is no protein that is going to your body, and if you consume it over a period of time, you will suffer from protein deficiency. So such kind of regular diet, if it lacks certain nutrient, then consumption leads to malnutrition. Now, what is undernutrition? It is the regular diet consists of insufficient quantity of nutrient and does not meet daily requirement of our body, and then the condition is said to be undernutrition. For example, you are consuming the bread, okay, but you are not consuming in the proper quantity. Okay, you are consuming bread, you are consuming protein, you are consuming everything, but it is not meeting your daily requirement if you consider all these factors. Okay, So considering these factors, if does not meet your daily requirement, then again you will suffer the undernutrition. Okay. Now, what are the reasons for undernutrition? Usually poverty, people cannot buy food, overpopulation, so there is a lot of competition for the food, improper method of cooking. Okay, sometimes we overcook the food, so all the nutrients, they are destroyed. Now, what are the reasons for malnutrition? Poverty, ignorance, and faulty food habits. So, eat for nutrition and not for the taste, so that you get balanced diet in your body. Now, what are deficiency diseases? Deficiency of one or more nutrients in diet is expressed in the form of some deficiency symptoms. These are called nutritional disorders or deficiency diseases, such as kwashiorkor, protein malnutrition disease, marasmus, protein energy malnutrition disease, beriberi or scurvy, vitamin deficiency disease, rickets, anemia, goiter, mineral deficiency diseases. So these are caused by the deficiency of certain nutrients. Okay. Now, if you see what is nutrition, or let's understand what is the concept of nutrition, then the sum total of all those activities which are associated with obtaining food by living beings is called nutrition. Now, this include ingestion, digestion, absorption, and assimilation to provide energy and matter for various metabolic activities. So the purpose of food is not only energy but also the matter which is required by the body. So we take the food from outside, and the nutrition is sum total of all these processes, like how we take food, how it get digested, how it get absorbed, and how it get assimilated in our body. So if you look at here, if you look at the digestion, so here we are first discussing over here is the digestion, and later on we will discuss the absorption. So if you look at the digestion, this is the food that we eat. It is in the complex form which contains starch, protein, lipids, and then it break down in our body. So breakdown is of two types, mechanical and chemical. Mechanical breakdown by the organ of digestive system, and chemical with the help of enzymes which are secreted by the various glands which are present in the digestive system. So now the complex food is broken down into the simpler food like monosaccharide, amino acids, glycerol, fatty acid. Now this is easily absorbed in the body and they are soluble as compared to the complex food which is not easily or which is not absorbed by the body. So if we eat such kind of food, complex food, and if it is not absorbed in our body, then it is not going to assimilate and provide the energy or do its function. So it is important the food that we eat should be digested into the simpler form, and it is solubilized and absorbed in our body. So next is, let's define the digestion now. So digestion is defined as the process by which the food is broken down into simpler form for easy absorption with the help of enzyme in the digestive tract is called digestion. So human digestive system, the function of digestive system is to break down the food and release their nutrient and absorb those nutrients into the body. And if you look at the digestive system, it is made up of, or you can say it is consist of two things. One is alimentary canal, another one is digestive glands. So alimentary canal is also known as gastrointestinal tract or GI tract or digestive tract. Glands are the cells, tissue, organ which secrete means they produce as well as they release substance that have specific functions. Digestive glands release secretions called digestive juices, and digestive juices may contain enzyme, hormone, and certain chemical. Now let's talk about the alimentary canal. it is a tubular structure. So it is a canal, long tubular and muscular structure with anterior and posterior opening. The anterior opening is called mouth and the posterior one is called anus, and the space inside GI tract is called lumen. So it is hollow. Okay, so if you look at the histology, it consists of 4 layers: mucosa, submucosa, muscularis and serosa. So serosa is the outermost, mucosa is the innermost, and mucosa is further divided into 3 layers, or it is made up of 3 layers. The inner one is called epithelium, and then lamina propria, whose main function is in absorption and secretion, composed of epithelium and connective tissue. And then the outer one is called muscularis. So muscularis continue with submucosa. Do you know that mucosa in stomach forms irregular fold called rugae, and mucosa in intestine form finger-like folding called villi? So these are the modifications of mucosa which are done as per the requirement. So here we'll just see its histology portion. So if you see here, this is the transverse section of the alimentary canal, and if you see, I'll start from inside, is the lumen, which is hollow portion, and here you can see this is, here you can see, this is actually the inner one is epithelium, which is the layer of mucosa, the inner one, epithelium, and and then second one is lamina propria. This one is lamina propria, and you can see over here that the mucosa, which consists of epithelium, lamina propria, and the third layer is called the muscularis mucosa. This one, muscularis mucosa, which is a smooth muscle. So these 3 made up mucosa. So this mucosa is the inner one, and then the second layer is called, this one is called submucosa. It is the layer with loose connective tissue and which contain blood vessels and lymphatic vessels and nerves. And then comes the third layer, this one muscularis, which is formed of smooth muscle responsible for contraction, segmental contraction, peristaltic movement in GI tract. And the outer one, you can see this one is called serosa, and it has secretion secretory epithelium, because the secretory epithelial cell, they secrete many things, and connective tissues. So serosa is also known as visceral peritoneum. We'll come to this point, visceral peritoneum. Okay, and it is the inner lining of abdominal cavity. So we'll be discussing what is abdominal cavity. Before that, if you look at the muscularis, it has 2 layers, outer and inner. The outer one is called externa and inner one is called circular, and in between is the orbex plexus. The outer inner layer coordination facilitate peristalsis and control by plexus. In stomach, it has third layer called oblique layer, and it helps to churn the chyme. So chyme is formed when the gastric juices mixes with the food. So this is about the histology, just to give you the brief idea that there are so many secretory cells which are secreted here in the epithelium and lamina propria, and they keep secreting their fluid or juice in the lumen. So lumen is the place where the food comes, and this is how it get digested. Okay, now if you see, there are certain modifications which are associated with this inner epithelium. Like in esophagus, it is made up of stratified epithelium. In stomach, it is made up of columnar epithelium, and in small intestine, it is modified to villi and microvilli. So villi and microvilli are like these finger-like projections which are formed by the infolding of the epithelial mucosa, and the main idea is to increase the surface area. And further you can see the microvilli which are formed by the infoldings of villi. So overall modification, if you see mucosa in stomach, it form irregular folds called rugae, and they help in the of course mechanical digestion, and it forms also the gastric glands. And intestine, it forms the villi crypt of Lieberkühn. Intestinal, it is intestinal gland between the villi and secrete the intestinal juice. So the villi, they form this structure in between at the base of villi. So if you see, these are the villi and the base of the villi. Okay, then intestinal mucosa has the fastest renewal rate of any tissue in the body. So we'll continue in the next part about the digestion. Thank you.